Hello everyone and welcome back to Incident Insights. Today we are off to Shoreham by Sea, a coastal town in West Sussex. The town is situated in the south coast of England between Worthing and Brighton and has a population of roughly 20,000. Since 1989, Shoreham Airshow has taken place annually in the late summer at Brighton City Airport, commonly known as Shoreham Airport. The airshow features a variety of aircraft including both flying and static displays, fast jets, military helicopters, aerobatic and historic aircraft. The airshow was held in aid of the Royal Air Forces Association, which is a charity set up to provide care and support to serving and retired members of the Air Force and to their dependents. Its wings appeal raises around £2 million annually from donations and subscription fees. Across 25 years, the Shoreham Airshow raised more than £2 million for them. On August 22, 2015, the airshow was on its first day of the annual two-day event. The weather was hot and sunny and the displays were well underway with the morning session featuring aerobatics and parachute display teams. The afternoon session was due to be opened by a Hawker Hunter T7 flown by pilot Andy Hill. Andy Hill was 51 years old. He had previously worked as a captain for British Airways and was very experienced with more than 12,000 flying hours. He had also been an instructor for the RAF before joining the airline and flew Hawker Harriers, Hawker Hunters, as well as other types of planes at airshows. The Hawker Hunter was a 1950s two-seater registration GBXFI. It first flew for the Air Force in 1955. It was rebuilt following a fire and returned to service in 1959. Since 1998, it had been making civilian display flights, such as this one. The Hawker Hunter commenced its display with a low pass along the runway from south to north, turning for a second pass in the opposite direction. As it came closer to the airport, it pulled up into an inside loop manoeuvre. This is where the aircraft enters straight and then pitches up to draw a circle with the aeroplane canopy pointing inwards. It can also be referred to as a loop-the-loop. At 1:22, as the aircraft came to the end of its loop, it failed to complete the manoeuvre and crashed in a nose-high altitude onto the westbound carriage of the A27. Upon impact, the aircraft broke into 4 parts and destroyed several vehicles that were travelling on the A27. Fuel escaped from the fuel tanks, causing a fireball when they ignited. Footage of the accident was captured by spectators as well as dashcams on passing vehicles. The first fire appliance was on scene within 90 seconds of impact, closely followed by airport emergency vehicles and medical personnel from the Red Cross who were providing medical care at the airshow. 11 people on the ground were killed, 16 were injured and 8 vehicles were destroyed. The pilot was thrown clear of the crash, still attached to the ejector seat. He survived the crash with serious injuries and was later placed into a medically induced coma. Those confirmed dead were 2 players from Worthing United Football Club, a driver who was driving a Daimler limousine on its way to collect a bride and transport her to church, as well as several locals and airshow enthusiasts who had stopped or pulled up to watch the display. Immediately following the crash, the A27 was closed in both directions. A de Havilland Sea Vixen was already airborne, ready to perform in the next display. It flew overhead at altitude. An Avro Vulcan was due past at 2:05. It was decided to let it perform a tribute flypast, after which the show was closed. All aircraft at the airport were already grounded due to a lack of fire provisions and an exclusion zone around the accident site. People were unable to leave the site initially as access to the car parks was from the A27, which had been closed, but measures were soon put in place to allow visitors to leave on foot. The second day of the airshow was cancelled. All components of the crash site were recovered and taken to the Air Accident Investigations Branch at Farnborough for further examination. The AAIB asked for any photos or videos of the crash and received multiple from various different locations around the airfield. The aircraft itself was not fitted with a cockpit voice recorder or a flight data recorder. The official investigation concluded that the crash was down to pilot error. The pilot failed to recognise the aircraft was too low to complete the loop manoeuvre. In 2018, Andy Hill was charged with 11 counts of manslaughter by gross negligence and 1 count of endangering an aircraft. Andy Hill entered a plea of not guilty. The trial was adjourned until 2019 and Andy Hill was granted bail. He was found not guilty on all counts in March 2019. The jury reached a unanimous decision on each of the counts following 7 hours of deliberation. The judge also formally acquitted Hill on the count of negligently or recklessly endangering the safety of an aircraft which had not been put to the jury. Relatives of the victims stated that they were devastated by the verdict. Outside the court after the trial, Hill read out the names of all those who had been killed in the incident and said, "I am truly sorry for the part I played in their deaths, and it is all I will remember for the rest of my life." An inquest into the victims' deaths was scheduled in 2020 but was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In December 2022, 7 years after the crash, the coroner ruled that the victims were unlawfully killed. The coroner described Hill's flying as exceptionally bad and the Airshow safety plan as not fit for purpose. Their deaths were caused by an incorrect manoeuvre and a series of gross errors. Andy Hill's pilot's licence was suspended after the accident. It was reported by the Daily Mail in December 2023 that he was trying to have it reinstated. Relatives of the victims pledged to try and prevent its reinstatement. After the crash, regulations for airshows were significantly tightened by the Civil Aviation Authority, increasing costs to organisers to fund the new safety measures to a degree that led to the cancellation of later shows. There has not been another airshow at Shoreham since this air crash. Today's video is in memory of all the victims of the Shoreham air crash. Thank you for joining us on Incident Insights, and if you have any thoughts on the Shoreham air crash or any suggestions for future videos, then leave a comment below. Until next time, take care and I'll see you in the next video.